Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dark Horse. What do we call this? Race preview analysis for Bianca Bustamante's race, obviously W Series. And this weekend we are in Le Castellet in Paul Ricard, which is obviously in France, in south of France, which is actually a lovely area. And I think it's Bianca's second time to this region because she did come here earlier this year for the FIE Girls on Track shootout in the karting. So I did talk to her before, and she says that this race is kind of bittersweet for her because when she first came here for the shootout, she had probably like one of her worst driving events, just because I think it was the pandemic and she hadn't driven kart in a couple of years, and she came for a shootout, and it was just like a really tough event for her. So now to come full swing 6 months later and racing the W Series is quite special for her. So that's pretty cool. And I want to introduce you to Richard Lyons here. This is the person that she's the most scared of. She's scared of. Yeah. She's quite scared of Richard, just because obviously, I know Richard and I are good friends. We know each other for many years, and I think 6 months ago I brought Richard on board to coach and mentor Bianca on the driving side of W Series. So that's who we have on today. But before we get into kind of the race analysis, I want to just give some updates on the Dark Horse project. So yeah, everything's been pretty awesome. We've had an exciting week. I think Bianca's been quite active on the kind of on the streaming channels. I think they're using the music channel quite a bit, and it's been great to see all the interaction going on with the Dark Horse community. I think we jumped up about 500-600 members this week, so that's been pretty cool. And yeah, it's been fun kind of with the interaction going on, because I just think overall it's all about this community. We're all about trying to get people getting to know Bianca, joining her on this journey. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I think, yeah, it's great to have the community support around Bianca. So I know she feels you guys with her as she's in France, and she is been doing quite a bit of preparation in this race. Before we get fully into that, I just wanted to update that there will be about a 2-week delay on the merch. The merch is sending up in a 2-week delay, just a bit of shipping logistics issues, but everything is on track to have the merch coming out pretty soon. The t-shirts, hats, stickers, and all that kind of stuff. And I guess this race, we have back-to-back weekends coming up. So this week we're going to be doing a post-race analysis after the race with Bianca again, and we'll be Richard actually Hungary with her directly, and we should be in Budapest for the first time, another new track. So yeah, we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I think Bianca is back to the Philippines after the Hungary race, so we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Like we're going to probably organize a sim race with Bianca. We're going to organize. Thank you, Richard, for muting. There's a lot of noise in the background there. He is actually at the W Series HQ, so he's actually at the racetrack at this moment. But yeah, overall, it's been. Yeah, we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up, so I don't want to babble on too much longer, but it's just been an exciting time for the Dark Horse project. We're so excited for all the stuff that's happening and coming, and yeah, that's kind of a quick summary of that. So I guess let's get straight into the analysis now. So I guess before we go to Bianca, Richard himself is a very experienced driver. He raced a lot of years in Formula cars, in GT, all sorts of stuff. He actually drove for my team, Crap Bamboo Racing. He was a driver for a couple of years, but his best year was actually winning the Super Formula Championship in Japan, and also the Super GT Championship in the same year. Quite a feat. So, and now he's kind of like older like me. And anyway, focusing on developing Bianca, and he's actually with her every step of the way since the initial shootout W Series. He's been coaching her and traveling with her to the races. So first question. Let's just say, how has been the progress for Bianca this year? Like, you've literally been with her since day one, since she came out of a cart, and you were like, I was like, this is Bianca. She's never driven a Formula car. We're going for a shootout. What can you do, Richard? So maybe like quick summary.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd never met Bianca until the day before. She actually drove an F4 car. I think we're in California for the first time. And I mean, you're talking about a complete, absolute rookie. You can do as much as you want in karting, but it is still karting. So you get the basics, of karting and exhilaration of driving fast and on the edge. But, it's a whole new world whenever you've got this big race car. It's all of a sudden 10 times heavier than, the cart that you had before. And, you've got, 10 times the amount of horsepower as well. So things are happening a lot differently. Not the cornering as such, but the arrival to a corner. You're coming at 120 miles an hour, say, 180 kilometers an hour. So it sort of is a lot different, the perception on that side, and learning how to be able to handle this big beast, let's say. There was whenever you put in a young karter, let's say, into a race car, you're always a bit like, I don't know what's going to happen. And, the first time straight out of the pit road, she was fast up the gears and engine revving. And at that point, I was, oh, crap. This is like scary watching somebody for the first time. And, she took to like a duck out of water or duck in water, but she was really, really good. Obviously the biggest thing that she really needed was lots and lots of laps of learning. It's not like soccer or football or something where you can just, go out every day and perfect your skills. That was just impossible because, motorsport, unfortunately, it just comes down to a lot of money. So that was really going to be, difficult for us to be able to catch up, let's say, with the rest of the girls and guys in motorsport. So we went about our way to try to get, as much as we could in terms of laps to get her ready for the W Series. She performed really well. And she always has performed better than expectations. It's just, obviously we want more all the time. It's a sport. You want to be better and better. But, we've got to be realistic with our goals. And, this is year one, and we've been progressing steadily throughout each event that we've went to.
Cool. I mean, every race we have more people in the community kind of joining and following her journey, so that's been quite interesting. And yes, we definitely recognize that she can only do so much. It's one practice at a time. But I think she's very positive spirited, and she's going after each race. So I guess fast forward to Silverstone, like, what is your thoughts? You weren't at the race because you had another event to go to. That's the one clash you had for the year. But what did you think from seeing Silverstone abroad? It was a tough race for her. And I guess going into this race, what have you guys reviewed and what are you working on?
Yes, so for Silverstone, it's a bit unique in how fast and flowing it is. It really is. Most corners are really two corners on the circuit, which are lower speed, but the rest is like the sequence of corners. I guess for a rookie as such, it's probably going to be the hardest because we've got a famous section at Silverstone called Maggots and Beckets. They're not fanciest of names, I guess, but through there is one of the hardest sections in racing. And there you've got to be able to carry a lot of speed, and it's definitely all very unlike driving a go-kart where, it's really quick reaction with the go-kart. Well, with the race car, it's a little bit slower reaction. So there's a lot of anticipation, really high speed. So, she only got 10 laps really in practice, and then again in qualifying. So the other girls that she was up against, had done, I don't know, maybe 300-400 laps. So we were, it's unfair to have that comparison and those practice sessions and qualifying sessions. So I think it was difficult just to get or see the potential that she had there. Now we're going into Ricard weekend, France GP, and the track it's got a bit of flow to it, but it's got some traditional corners for her as well, especially turns 1 and 2 and 7 and 8, where it's hard braking and get the car turned and off the corner. And it's something that we've been really working on, about the finer details of her technique on getting the car turned like really quickly and be able to modulate getting back onto the gas again. So it's a feel factor on it, and it really only comes through repetition, and it's something that we have been lacking with. But we've been doing quite a bit of work on the sim in the background, and we've got some onboard videos from past drivers here, and we can start to try to replicate that in the sim. And as well, Bianca's been good with her notes, that being able to note down the certain points, where to turn into a corner, where to get on the gas. And it sounds really simplistic, but whenever you apply all the speed and adrenaline to it, it's not just as easy as that either.
Yeah, what do you find as like her kind of key strengths? Like, obviously she has areas where she struggles, but what are like some of the we've seen some amazing like performances from her, especially like in the shootouts and stuff, where she just came out and she has that will every time she needs to have the extra delivery of something. She has it. So I'm not sure where do you find as the strongest points for her?
Sorry, I've just got a helicopter going over my head.
It's okay. It's not that bad, actually. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the first bit was I would say she's fearless, completely fearless, and that's something that you really need to have as a driver. And that I seen that first at her very first debut test in a race car, that in high speed corners she could just carry lots and lots of speed in. Now I would say that's got a weak point to it as well, because whenever you're able to carry that speed into those high speed corners, a lot of them are combination corners. And what I mean by that is like you're turning in one fast corner, but it's quickly followed by another sweeping corner, and sometimes you've got to sacrifice or be less or maybe a little bit more fearful, let's say, so you can set up the next stage of that corner. And this has been a case where I find that she overruns maybe the first part of the corner and then compromises the second part of the corner. So, it's sometimes being able to read one corner ahead and being able to get the car position better. So I think that's why we've seen at Silverstone a little bit of a struggle in some places. This circuit has that too, but we know what to watch out for, and we've got clear goals of what we want to do for the car placement. So I'm really hoping that we're going to make a good step on that side as well.
Yeah, so it's actually like not about how fearless she is, or about controlling that aggression. That's probably what we're working on.
Yes, it's something that we talk about a lot: controlled aggression and anticipation. So a lot of it is whenever you enter a corner, you've got to anticipate when you're going to be able to get on the gas. And a lot of the time we say anticipate with patience. So you've got to be turning and be patient. And even though you think that you can get back to the gas pedal, sometimes you just have to wait for the car to turn a little bit more so you can get fully onto the gas pedal in one go.
Yeah, so what do you guys, I don't know what time it is now, midday or something. What have you guys been up to this morning?
Yeah, so the first thing is come meet the team, meet the mechanics again, just see what's been going on with the car. We want to always check the seat and all the cockpit controls, that everything is working correctly. And then we do a track walk, and the track walk really is like pre-weekend briefing with the engineer and driver, and we can go out around the circuit. What we're really doing is we're looking at the details of the circuit. So it might sound silly, but we're looking at if there's any extra bumps in the circuit from what we've seen in the video. And one thing the video never shows us is the elevation. So if you look at this on TV tomorrow and the next day, what you'll see is it's a very flat circuit. But this is very deceiving, because actually there's some elevation in key parts of the circuit where, for example, into turn 8 and 9, it actually goes downhill quite a bit. And then it comes up over a slight crest, but you can't see this at all on the TV. So these are the things that we go out and we get Bianca down to like eye level, as if she's in the race car, so she can kind of see what elevations or cambers are on the road. So it's really helpful for that, for our track notes as well. And there's a couple of places on the circuit where I said, oh, I think it's going to be second gear. And then we walked the circuit and we were like, no, that's definitely going to be third gear because it's a lot quicker because of the camber on the road. So these are key little things. And the surprising thing is, whenever you're driving, sometimes on some corners, you'll say, oh, I've got very bad understeer, very bad oversteer on a particular point of the corner. And sometimes that's just that the road has changed by a little bit of camber. That's what we talk about, camber. And the camber helps hold the car in the road. But some corners are actually the reverse way, and it'll throw the car out, so you'll have less grip. And whenever we're looking, we could see a couple of these key places. Actually, there was this transition. So we could go, okay, the car is going to do this on this corner. So whenever you're driving it, don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So I guess you know Bianca's driving style quite a bit this year. Like, you've seen how do you think like she will fare on the circuit? Like, is it suitable for her? Is it something that might work towards her advantage? Or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of strong corners here. The high speed stuff where there's not a lot of combination will be really good. I think there's going to be a couple of places where it'll maybe be a little bit trickier. But, you know, we got to get out there first. Maybe she'll adapt to it and it'll flow. And especially the work that we've just done previously, maybe that'll just come straight away. But, you know, we've got to be ready for the fact that whenever she comes on the radio, it's like, you know, I'm having a problem at turn 1, 2, for example, or turn 14, 15, where I see it being a little bit tricky, turn 14, 15, because 14, 15, it has a really, really fast entry to it, and you've got to compromise the exit a little bit because the next corner is very slow and technical, and it brings you out onto the start finish, which is a big long straight. So I'm thinking that could be quite difficult because, you know, her tendency is to rush into the corner and maybe compromise that next corner. So we've talked quite detail about that to try to cover it off before it happens. And with that information, with knowing her particular style, we can then ask her the question while she's out on the track: Are you compromising 14 to be able to get a good run at 15? And maybe that'll just make her think in her head, oh, okay, maybe I have to adjust a little bit. So it's really important, that relationship that we have and that we talk about it. So I can help her out during the sessions.
Yeah, I guess that's probably the experience side. And definitely when we're driving after, like, you know, a lot of years of experience, we're able to evaluate that in our mind and basically do that. So I think she's still feeling her way through that. That's probably all this preparation work and how she takes that information and uses it on the track in those 30-minute practice session is quite critical to evaluating that. So I guess like probably 30-minute practice, she's not going to get that many laps in. It'll be quite complex to get as much seat time as she can. Well, before, as we continue here, if anybody has any questions, I am logged in here on the Discord. So if you have questions, fire them through, and I'll try to look at these while, put them in now, and I'll get those answered for you. Let me see. Let me think. Actually, what else we have is, I guess, what's the weather like now there? I wanted to actually see that, and actually, will it be a tough weekend?
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about is, you know, there's been this massive heat wave all through Europe, and it didn't escape the south of France. You know, south of France at this time of year anyway is hot, so we're expecting hot, but it's around 38 degrees, and really there's, you know, we've got a nice facility here where I'm at. I'm at W Series HQ, and it's aircon inside, but actually where the cars and the drivers have to do all their meetings and stuff, it's super hot. It's like these awnings with the trailers, and inside there's around 50 degrees. It's so hot. So for the drivers, in terms of like the prep, they can do so much, you know, in the evenings and the early mornings, but throughout the day, it's a real struggle to stay hydrated and try to stay cool. And then whenever they get into the car, inside the car, actually, you've got either side of you are what we have radiators for cooling, for engine cooling and gearbox cooling either side, and they run at about 90 degrees C. So it actually keeps the cockpit of the car around 70 degrees, that's kind of what you feel. It's super, super hot. So just sitting even there doing nothing, it's hard work. So then, you know, the ambient air coming to you as well at 40 degrees, you know, you're not getting much cooling. And this track is, you know, I've heard from a few different drivers that's been here recently, they're saying it's actually really physical. Never mind the actual temperature, it's actually really physical. So it's going to take a lot of strength. And, you know, I know it's 30 minutes, but you can imagine you'll go 30 minutes, you know, wrestling somebody or whatever, or if you've done hot yoga or something like this here, it's pretty intense. So that's what we're kind of expecting. And I should really point out as well, try doing your hot yoga with a race suit on and a helmet on as well. And I'll give you a bit of an idea of what the drivers go through.
Yeah, that's actually true. I think there's a chicane in the back straight. So there's no real long back straight. Right? So basically, there's not really any long moments of rest on this track. It's pretty much corner after corner after corner, short but straight on the front, and the back straight has a chicane, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, apparently, you know, for the driver feeling, the first part of the circuit isn't so bad. It's whenever they come around to turn 11, which is after that chicane. There's no rest on the steering wheel, it's just constant turn. So the steering wheel is never straight, and that's about 45 seconds of constant load turning. So if you think about, you know, trying to hold weights or anything like that for 45 seconds and moving it around, but constantly having to do that for 30 minutes, it's tough. It's going to be really tough. And the other side is that you've got to concentrate and develop. So there's nothing built into subconscious here of knowing the circuit and repetitions. She's having to constantly be thinking the whole way, okay, I need to adjust this line, I need to adjust this braking point, and also be able to take on information from the engineers throughout the session. So, you know, that mentally it's really tough, but, you know, physically equally it's tough, if not more.
Yeah, so I think like, that aspect definitely is hard. And I think overall, like, it's not at all discriminating towards women, but women are obviously like they're physically weaker. So that's why she's actually been having to train so hard. But it takes time to build your strength up. I mean, like, she's done so much progress. We've seen her before and after pictures in terms of strength and everything. She's gained so much. But will the girls struggle this weekend? Like, you know, the girls that don't prep well will struggle more.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, probably, you know, take a step back from that. I would say is that, you know, most drivers, they don't come to this level. Like, she's literally skipped 1 or 2 levels, and she's at this level of the W Series car, which is Formula 3. And normally, by the time the driver would get to this level, they've got 2 full years of experience, not just racing experience, but testing. And in that, they would probably have maybe 50 days testing. We probably had, I don't know, 4 good test days. You know, so and, you know, a handful of race weekends. So, you know, for her to be able to be at a level that she can complete races is phenomenal, and it really speaks volumes for how much work she's put into the physical side. You know, the before and after pictures, you can definitely see the difference, but I can tell you what she's done in that short amount of time to get to this is absolutely fantastic. Now, most of the drivers are, yes, they physically can do these races, but whenever you add in these sort of really, really hot conditions, if they haven't hydrated correctly or ate the right foods, it will have a big effect, especially halfway through the race, because the first part of the race is always the most intense. And what happens is, you know, the drivers are in the cars maybe 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes before the race, so you're already getting a little bit dehydrated, and the focus it's hard, it's, you know, it's so intense at that time. And it's really about the middle of the race where you start seeing these little mistakes. And sometimes you think, oh, why did they do that? But honestly, whenever you're under intense pressure and you're pushing yourself to the maximum, of course, there's room for defaulter, and you see that more so in these sort of hot conditions. But, you know, I think Bianca's a little bit easier with the hotter conditions and maybe some of them.
Okay, so let's ask a couple of questions here. Marion asked, how do you prevent the tires from overheating with weather and the long corners?
Yeah, well, you know, the first thing is that the easiest thing to stop them overheating is to stop sliding them or scrubbing them, what we would say. And one key area is getting on the gas pedal. So it's being more progressive with coming onto the throttle, and also making sure the car is a little bit more straighter on the exit of the corner, so the rear wheels are going down together at one time. If you're coming off the corner and it's sort of scrubbing like this, you're adding temperature. So what we'll do is we'll maybe say to square off the corner a little bit more, just to not put as much pressure or stress on one particular wheel than the other.
Okay, cool. Another question we have here. Actually, that's something that we've been working a lot with Bianca, actually, is her power application, right? I think that's something that she has been putting on quite aggressively on the power, and that's what we're trying to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on a second here. We have another question. Do you get compromised with the dirty air? This is Duarte. Do you get compromised with the dirty air in this car? In the dirty air, is the dirty air very powerful on this car? Like is there a big effect on the dirty air?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Especially on those first few laps. Whenever you've got a train of like 20 cars, you find that the turn-in point, what you thought was a turn-in point, is completely gone. So you end up what we call underdraft. So you'll end up being slightly offline to the other car, and if you can get half your car offline to them, then you can still be able to create that downforce. But yeah, especially at the first few laps of a race, what you'll find is one car in front, the second car will start going wide, and then the third car and the fourth car go wider and wider. So if you're like in the fourth car or fifth car in that group, you can actually afford to stay online, because the other cars will probably go offline and you'll be okay. So it's a kind of a phenomenon it's strange and it's hard to explain until you actually drive it. And then it's the feeling that you have from the steering wheel is the steering feels really, really heavy. And then all of a sudden it just goes super light and there's no feeling on the front end and the car wants to shoot off the circuit. So yeah, it is quite powerful, but equally it can be quite a good thing, on the straights where they're all drafting each other, but it's powerful.
Okay, that sounds good. Yes, we're trying to get Bianca on here. I think she's just finished her lunch. So,
are you looking for Bianca?
Yeah, she's gonna jump in because she just finished her lunch.
Hang on, I need to take off the...
It's off your mic or something. Pass off your earbuds.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
Hi guys, sorry, just came back from scrutineering weigh-in and did some sim training.
Yeah, how's it going? How you feeling?
Feeling excited. It's a new track, so much to learn again, but of course it's a great journey and I'm enjoying it a lot, and definitely a lot more organized and positive for this weekend compared to the previous race weekends. Makes life a lot easier.
Yes, we're working on being organized, right?
Yes, we are.
But yeah, I guess you weren't listening to our analysis, were you?
No, I was not. I was having lunch.
Well, how was the track walk? How do you think around the track? Like, what's going on over there?
Well, track walks are always interesting because you see things that you don't normally notice on an onboard. And of course, we got to see a bit of elevation changes, and Richard loves to take his time during track walk. So we took our time and noticed every single detail that we had to, and hopefully give us more edge and just more info for me to progress a lot quicker.
Okay, you feeling strong? We're talking about how this track looks quite physical.
Yeah, I'm feeling strong, and everyone's been saying that the track is fairly like very physical. And I've been working out a lot, did a few rock climbing sessions. And so hopefully we're gonna put that to use this weekend.
Well, not
okay. What is your, I guess this is a question from DJ here. What are your goals for the weekend?
Well, goals is of course to finish top 10. You know, I was trying to be realistic, and we really do see that is a possibility. It's not impossible. It's not far away, and you know, if everything goes right and mentally as well, if I'm on top of everything, and Richard always makes sure that I am. So hope. so yeah, that's gonna help with everything and keep me motivated as always.
Do you think there's gonna be a moment, Richard, where you'll take her phone away again, like famously take her phone from her?
I've already done it. Already done it this morning.
Yeah, during track walk.
As soon as we came out of pit road for track walk, she said to Sam, "Can you hold my phone a second?" And I took it off her engineer and put it in my pocket. And I give her back as soon as we crossed the finish line.
So for all of you that on the dark horse that think Bianca is not interacting enough, it's because Richard took her phone. Likely,
yeah,
there's a very high chance.
I want her to be focused. You can blame me. I'm sorry.
You guys can message Richard instead.
So I guess another question from Marin. Where do you think you will be strong on this track?
Oh, that's a tough one.
On the straights.
Not even. Not even. Pit lane, maybe. Pit lane. I don't know actually. I've like Richard always said, I've always liked high speed corners, and it's really those slow like mid to slow corners where I struggle a lot because it requires a lot of technique. And everyone's been saying that this track does require for a bit amount of technique. But in the sim, I've always been pretty good in the first. As always, I've been really good at the first few sectors, but then by the end of the last sector, I'm usually about half a second off. Makes it tough, but we'll see. You know, I've gained a lot more experience for sure, coming from Silverstone, Barcelona, and everything, and we're making progress. Even though it's not visible sometimes, I can feel myself that I'm getting a lot more confidence. And we got a new seat this weekend, and that was one thing that I've pointed out before that I wasn't really comfortable in, and one of the reasons why I really couldn't push because I wasn't comfortable in the car. But yeah, we've sorted that out. I did my seat fit. Everything's amazing. And basically I have zero excuse now. You've taken it all away from me.
Yeah.
I have to open up my book of excuses and find another one.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. If you need any, you can always ask Frank. No, but okay, no, thanks so much. Good luck, Bianca, from all of us here.
Thank you.
We'll be following watch parties or just yeah, in general.
I'll be back streaming once I'm home. I know you guys miss my streams.
Yeah, so I think we are good. Yeah, best of luck, and make sure you stay on top of her, Richard. Make sure that she is pushing hard, focused, and yeah.
Too hard.
Enjoy yourself, Bianca. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, guys.
Everybody on Dark Horse is saying good luck. So, all right. Chat later then.
Okay.
Take care.
Thanks,
for your
guys.
time, Richard. Thank you.
It's been awesome. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.